Hari Om, everybody. Let's get started. It's 10 o'clock. गणानां त्वा गणपतिगुं हवामहे कविं कवीनामुपमश्रवस्तमम् ज्येष्ठराजं ब्रह्मणां ब्रह्मणस्पत आन शृण्वन्नोतिभिः सीदसादनम् ॐ प्रणो देवी सरस्वती वाजेभिर्वाजिनीवती धीनामवित्यवत् ॐ गणेशाय नमः ॐ सरस्वत्यै नमः ॐ श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः शुक्लांबरधरं विष्णुं शशिवर्णं चतुर्भुजं प्रसन्नवदनं ध्यायेत् सर्वविघ्नोपशान्तये वागीशाद्या सुमनसः सर्वार्थानामुपक्रमे यं नत्वा कृतकृत्या स्युः तं नमामि गजाननम् वक्रतुंड महाकाय कोटिसूर्य समप्रभ निर्विघ्नं कुरु मे देव सर्वकार्येषु सर्वदा सरस्वती नमस्तुभ्यं वरदे कामरूपिणी विद्यारंभं करिष्यामि सिद्धिर्भवतु मे सदा ओम सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै ओम शांति शांति शांतिः सदाशिवसमारम्भां शंकराचार्य मध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम् ब्रह्मानन्दं परमसुखदं केवलं ज्ञानमूर्तिं द्वन्द्वातीतं गगनसदृशं तत्त्वमस्यादिलक्ष्यम् एकं नित्यं विमलमचलं सर्वधी साक्षिभूतं भावातीतं त्रिगुणरहितं सद्गुरुं तं नमामि सद्गुरुं तं नमामि श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयम् नमामि भगवत्पादशङ्करं लोकशङ्करं शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्य केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवत् व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुः साक्षात् परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः समस्त जन कल्याणे निरतं करुणामयं नमामि चिन्मयं देवं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरं Sadgurum Brahma Vidvaram Yasya Sannidhi Matrena Sarve Shishyascha Sevakaah Karmakshetre Pravartante Chinmayam Tam Namamyaham Chinmayam Tam Namamyaham. Let us do the Pratasmaranam. Pratasmarami hridi samspuradatmatattvam Satchit sukham paramaham sagatim turiyam Yat swapna jagara sushuptam avaiti nityam Tad brahma nishkalamaham na cha bhuta sangha pratar bhajami manasa vachasamagамyam vacho vibhanti nikila yadanugrahena yanneti neti vachanaihi nigamavochuhu tam deva deva majamachyutamahuravvyam pratarnamami tamasa paramarkavarnam purnam sanatana padam purushottamākyam Yasminnidam jagadasheshamasheshamurtau Rajvam bhujangamayiva pratibhasitam vai Rajvam bhujangamayiva pratibhasitam vai. Hari Om everybody, welcome back to our weekly Vedanta classes. We are studying the text called Sadhana Panchakam, composed by Bhagavan Adi Shankaracharya ji. In the first class, we saw a brief introduction to the text, to Bhagavan Adi Shankaracharya ji. Last week, we entered the text. We saw that this text is one of the famous 5 Panchakams written by Bhagavan Adi Shankaracharya ji. We recited one shloka from Kaupina Panchakam, one from Manisha Panchakam, one from Maya Panchakam, Advaita Panchakam, the 5 gems on Advaita Vedanta. So now, then we entered our first verse. We will chant that again today. So in this text, as you know, there are 5 verses, only 5. And there are 8 instructions for each verse. We had covered 2 of them in the last class. With that, we will enter it again today. We will chant and you can repeat on mute. Vedo nityam adhiyatam taduditam karmasvanushthiyatam tene shasya vidhiyatam apachitihi kamye matistyajyatam papaughah paridhuyatam bhavasukhe doshonusandhiyatam atmeच्छाव्यवसीयताम nijagruhat turnam vinirgamyatam. One more time. Vedo nityamadhiyatam taduditam karmasvanushthiyatam tene shasya vidhiyatam apachitihi kamye matistyajyatam papaughah paridhuyatam bhavasukhe doshonusandhiyatam atmechhavyavasiyatam nijagruhat turnam vinirgamyatam. The first instruction, Vedo nityam adiyatam. We saw that last week, that the studies of Vedas, the scriptures, how often? Nityam, daily. Because Atindriya Vishaye Vedaha Pramanam. Because our Vaidika Samskriti is based on the authority of the Vedas. It gives us guidelines as to what to do and what not to do in the form of vidhi, injunctions, or nisheda, what not to do. Our Shastras, as we discussed last week, are classified into 4 categories: Shruti, Smriti, Itihasa, and Purana. And Vedas fall under Shruti Shastra, that which is revealed, that which is apurusheya, not a man-made entity. And out of that, Karma Kanda, Upasana Kanda come under Purva Mimamsa. Jnana or Vedanta comes under Uttara Mimamsa. Karma and Upasana or for our chitta shuddhi or purification of our mind, and chitta ekagrata to gain focus or concentration. And once the equipment, the BMI equipment is ready and tuned to the divine broadcast, we are ready for Gnana or knowledge of the self. So we know the highest knowledge that is talked about in the Upanishads or in the Gnana Kanda of the Vedas. That is why a systematic study of Vedanta will help the sadhaka to read and reflect on these life-altering ideas. The Veda mantras purify our antahkarana. They reveal the truth. In short, Vedas teach us how to lead a dharmic way of life. It's like a handbook of life. It teaches us how to reduce our desires, how to channelize our desires, and even how to divinize our desires. See the reason for this instruction. Vedo nityam adhiyatam. The prescription of Swadhyaya. Daily. What it does, it instills the discipline. Helps us to overcome the reactionary responses of the mind to situations. As I mentioned last week, sadhaka, however sincere, also lives in the same community as others who are constantly partying, constantly living a life of indulgence. To live among such distractions, to keep our mind constantly inspired with a larger vision of life is not that easy. So pick up any text on Vedanta, Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, Ramayana, Mahabharata. What it does, it will keep our spiritual vision at an elevated level. What happens over time with this kind of systematic study? Chitta Shuddhi, the mind and intellect, constantly engaged in this higher thinking and a focused effort, Chitta Ekagrata, will lead us to that highest knowledge, knowledge of the self. So Vedas are these Margadarshaka Grantha. It gives us guidelines of how to conduct ourselves in our daily life. Achara coupled with vichara. Because life is all about making choices. When we are ignorant of the goal of life, what we do, we end up making inappropriate choices, and we may even do adharmic action or unrighteous actions. Then we discuss the second instruction, tad uditam karmasu anushtiyatam. Perform the duties as ordained by the Vedas diligently, not casually. We saw in the last class different types of karmas: nitya karma, naimittika karma, kamya karma, nishiddha karma, prayaschitta karma. Under nitya karma, we saw a daily obligatory duties. Snanam sandhya japo homaha devatanam cha pujanam vaishvadeva theyam cha atiteyam cha shatkarmani dine dine. We need to do snana, bathing every day, cleansing, sandhya vandanam, japa, puja, yagna, yaga. We discuss these yagnas under 5 broad categories. Pancha Mahayagnas. Like our Puja Gurudev said, performing duties in the yagna spirit, meaning under the spirit of offering it to the Lord. We discussed Brahma Yagna, where prayers to Guru, prayers to our Vedamata, Pada Puja, Paduka Puja, reflecting on the teachings of the Guru, practicing the teachings in our daily life, spreading the teachings. Deva Yagna, we said, any form of worship of the Lord, doing puja, rituals, visiting temples, the Sannidhi of the Lord, worshipping those who govern our lives, like the sun, moon, air, space, water, etc. Then we also talked about Pitru Yagna, prayers to parents and our ancestors. Manushya Yagna, service to humanity. Service through our work, seva, charity. Then Bhuta Yagna, serving the environment we live in. serving the plants, trees, rivers, mountains, animal kingdom. Because we are the crown jewel of creation. And we have an obligatory duty to protect the environment. In short, we need to lead a life beyond me and mine. Then we discussed a little bit about naimittika karmas, the occasional duties enjoined by others, like Navaratri Puja, Shivaratri Puja, Ganesha Puja. Then we discussed Kamya Karma, karma to fulfill certain desires. And the common examples we saw, Jyotishtoma Yaga, Putra Kameshti Yaga. But if we don't have those desires, we don't need to do. They are done by choice. Then we talked a little bit about Nishiddha Karma, prohibited actions, Prayaschitta Karma, atonement or corrective actions. So in short, with this instruction, we do Nitya Karma diligently, slow down and minimize Kamya Karma or desire prompted actions, say no to Nishiddha Karma. See, karmas are mainly performed by what? Kaya, Vacha, Manasa. Kayika Karma, by the body. Vachika Karma, by the speech. Manasika Karma, by the mind. Karmas by body, what do they include? Like bathing in holy waters, prostrating to the Guru, prostrating to the Lord, performing pujas are all examples of Kayaka Karma. Karmas by body. Then karmas by speech, Vachika. Regularly reciting scriptures, Veda mantras, bhajans, singing devotional songs. Then karmas by mind, Manasika Chintanam, Vedanta Chintanam, thoughts about bhakti, vairagya. So taduditam karma su anushtiyatam. That was the second instruction that we went through last week. Now we have a good understanding on the types of karmas as prescribed by the Vedas, and we need to do them diligently depending on the stage of our lives. Not doing just based on our raga, dvesha, likes and dislikes. I like to do this. I do this because I like it. Not anymore. That brings us to the third instruction today. Teneshasya, let me share that screen. Teneshasya vidhiyatam apachitihi. Third line. Teneshasya vidhiyatam apachitihi. Tena ishasya vidhiyatam apachitihi. Apachitihi means pujanarte. Bhagavan Krishna in Bhagavad Gita tells Arjuna, Niyatam kuru karmatvam. Tena ishasya vidhiyatam. Now what he is doing, this instruction is bringing God into the equation. We need to turn karma to karma yoga. Those who were with me for the Upadesha Sara class, we have analyzed this aspect before. And actually, I'm going to take that up again. Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi says, Ishwararpitam nechaya kritam chitta shodakam mukti sadakam. Ishwararpitam nechaya kritam chitta shodakam mukti sadakam. See, karma, when we do an action, it gives a result. Karma phala. See, our actions are finite. Means it has a beginning and an end. So the results are also finite. We can't expect infinite results out of a finite action. Results are finite and limited. But the attachment created is permanent. So the upliftment comes only when we turn karma to karma yoga. See, when we dedicate the karmas to the Lord, what it does, it purifies our mind. It gives us chitta shuddhi. This is how we divinize our actions. It's a 3-point plan. First, all kartavya karmas, obligatory duties, we must be done dedicated to the Lord. Arpita buddhi. That bhava that I am doing it for not my sake, but for God's sake. Performance, number 2, performance of karmas as worship of the Lord. Dasya buddhi. O Lord, I am your servant. You are my boss. Dasya buddhi. And when the results come, all karma pala are to be accepted as prasada, his blessing, prasada buddhi. While doing this type of action, we recognize that way the Lord as karma dhyaksha, giver of the results, and recognizing him as karma pala data while receiving the results. See, a lot of times what happens, we complain. Venkatesh ji, nobody recognizes what I do. You know, I do so much for the community. Is it not our standard complaint? What happens with this samarpita bhava? You know, some people, when they chant, they do not even do phalastuti. They just say, Parameshwara Prityartam Narayanayeti Samarpayami. I dedicate this chanting to you, Lord. See, what happens over a period of time, our kartrutva, a sense of doership, that I am the one who is doing it. You know, I'm a self-made man. And bhoktrutva, a sense of enjoyership, it slowly dissolves. From kartrubhava, I become the karana, an instrument of action, an instrument of the Lord. Now, from a small desktop as an individual, now I have connected myself to the entire universal network. The entire universe will help me and come together to help with my action. Because we have brought Bhagavan into the equation. What happens in turn? Our raga dvesha, our likes and dislikes also slowly dissolves. This is nishkama karma. This is loka sangraha. No expectations whatsoever. When we study a text called Yoga Vasishtha, Saptagnana Bhumika, 7 stages to the spiritual unfoldment in an individual. In that evolution, a stage called Tanu Manasa, attenuation of the mind. Our mind becomes subtler and subtler and thinner like a cloud in the month of August. It becomes quieter, no more agitations, no more distractions. Our mind slowly gets tuned to the higher goal. Okay? That is the power of that instruction. Moving on to the... So that instruction was Tena Ishasya Vidhiyatam. Moving on to the 4th instruction. Fourth line. Kamye matistyajyatam. Kamye matistyajyatam. That kamya karma, that desire prompted action, give up. Minimize in the beginning and give up totally. Whenever somebody asks us to do something, what do we say first? What is in it for me? What do I get out of this? In fact, if we follow the first 3 instructions diligently, as we become spiritually more and more mature, desire prompted actions will automatically fall off as a byproduct. But this instruction, we have to look at it as a secret of happiness. Why do everybody want to be rich and famous? To be happy. If we analyze all human pursuits are motivated by 2 impulses. Revulsion to sorrow, atyantika dukkha nivrutti. Revulsion to sorrow, paramananda prapti, longing for that happiness. That is why we are in that state of agitation. See, we do all karmas or actions just for the sake of happiness. If any of our actions gives us dukkham, unhappiness, We do not want to do those actions. Why actions? We do not want to be with a person who causes dukkham, agitations. If any situation causes us agitation or dukkham, we want to get out of that situation. But let's analyze that a little bit. But happiness is always in the future. Do we want to be happy in the future? Or do we want to be happy now? You know, we live in a society of instant gratification. We want to be happy every moment, starting from now and forever and ever after. That is why even our fairy tales, they all end. They all lived happily ever after. Our daughter always used to ask, whenever I used to tell her a story, is it a happy ending? Because we don't want to listen to a sad story. We seek eternal happiness. In life, if we analyze, we are either preparing to be happy or pretending to be happy. If someone asks, are you happy? Usually, what do we say? We are happy. So the results of the karmas are only in the future. But we know future is very uncertain. We don't know. Even if we get the desired result, we know it is only temporary and time-bound. Think. So in order to eke out that temporary happiness, what are we doing so far? We are changing places, desha, to be happy. We wait for a better time to come, kala. We want our paristhiti, circumstances to change. We even go to an astrologer. Remember our happiness equation from our basic Vedanta modules? Happiness, our Gurudev defined as number of df by de. Number of desires fulfilled divided by the number of desires entertained. We know that the quantum of happiness increases by increasing the numerator or decreasing the denominator, or a combination of both. If you fulfill one desire, there is another right behind, like the tissue box. If you pull one up, the other one pops right back up. It's waiting right there. As the number of desires increases, the denominator also increases, resulting in reduced happiness. So the key is asankalpat jayet kamam. No fanciful wishes to take root in our minds. Therefore, this instruction, kamye matis tyajyatam. So the best way to establish permanent happiness is to reduce the number of desires entertained in the first place by redirecting our thoughts to the higher goal or the higher principle. As a sadhaka, we have to give up two B's, letter B. One is Bahya Vishaya, external pursuits, and then Bhoga Vishaya, objects of enjoyment. We need to give up that thought of what is in it for me. Our Swamiji, during our course, always used to say, we currently have infinite goals to pursue happiness. We need to have infinity as our only goal to pursue eternal happiness. What a beautiful thinking by our rishis. With that, let us go to the next instruction. Papaugha pariduyatam. After kamye matistyajatam, papaugha pariduyatam. Wash away the sins in our heart. Now, we need to understand what that means. See, we do karmas. Then you have the results of those karmas. They fall under three categories. Punya karmas. When we do meritorious or dharmic action, it leads to meritorious results, good results. They're called punya. Papa karma. Wrong or adharmic, unrighteous actions leads to bad results, unmeritorious results. Papa. Then there is mishrita of punya and papa. Actions that gives mixed results of papa and punya. In fact, the equipment we have today, the body, the mind, and the intellect equipment that we have got today is based on the results of the karmas we have done in the past. The prarabdha karma. See, there is one put in a shloka form. Purva janma krutam papam vyadhi rupena badhyate. Tachantiraushadai danaihi japa homa surarchanaihi. See, we cannot do anything about what we have done, the results of the past karmas. They say it is like the arrow that has left the quiver. What it does, it will hit the target and meet its destination no matter what we do. So these sins, papago, the vasanas, we have accumulated of the papa karmas. They come and bother us as diseases, poverty, anxiety, agitation, conflicts, sense of guilt. These are mala, impurities of the mind. What it does, it will even make us do adharmic actions. Even nishiddha karma, prohibited action. In general, the results of papa karma manifest as negative tendencies, manifest as jealousy, anger, greed. What we can do to pacify these effects of these papa karmas that we might have done in the past, we can minimize or neutralize. If we fall sick, we take medicine to cure the disease, do shanti karmas, dana or charity, japa to calm the mind, tapa, homa, puja, all these are prescribed practices. We can neutralize or minimize the effects of this papa karma, papa pada. The Shastras say one more thing, ironical. Punyasya phalamichanti, punyam nechanti manavaha, na papa phalamichanti, papam kurvanti yatnataha. Human beings, we want punya phala, that is sukham, pleasure, but we do not want to do punya karma. Okay? But we want the phala, result of it. However, nobody wants the results of papa karma, but with a lot of effort, yatnataha, we do papa karma. That is the nature of an agnani. But that will not affect us. Because we are on the gnana marga, we know. We are on the moksha marga. So we can put a NA in that column. Not applicable. Because we know, just like you tell somebody, do not steal. If you steal and get caught, you will go to jail. Or we say, tell somebody, do not drive through a red light. But if somebody does not want to follow the rules, just because nobody is watching, you do not cross the red light. Because the results are not conducive for you, and sometimes the results not conducive for others also. That is why we define the character as how we behave when nobody is watching. Think about that. That's character. Most of us, most of all, while doing unrighteous actions, doing these type of prohibitive actions, it is below human dignity. It is below human decency. So we should avoid it. So through these selfless actions, not selfish actions, through God-centered actions, not ego-centered actions, what happened? The vasanas that have accumulated over janmas, many births, slowly they get washed away. That is the power of that instruction. Now, the sixth instruction. So what we just covered was Papagau paridhuyatam, papaugah pariduyatam. Next one, bhavasukhe doshonusandhiyatam. Bhavasukhe doshonu sandhiyatam. See, until now, it was achara. Do this, don't do this, don't do this, etc. Now, achara, sadachara to vichara. Thinking. By now, mind is mature spiritually. It has quietened. It is purified to a large extent. With purity comes clarity. Let us think and analyze this a little bit. Bhava Sukha. Bhava means becoming. That is samsara Sukha. The Sukha is in becoming something or somebody. From a bachelor, I became a gruhastha. As a gruhastha, I became a father. And so on. This is Bhava Sukha. Momentary Sukha. What Shankaracharya ji is saying here is, we need to start seeing the defects, dosha drishti. If you remember, we spent 18 hours studying a text called Bhaja Govindam to develop dosha drishti, defects in the world, and to develop what? Pratipaksha bhavana. To develop Pratipaksha bhavana, that knowledge, what I do. With that knowledge, what do? I do vichara, inquiry. When I inquire, I understand that all my worldly pursuits have a beginning and an end. Adi and an anta. And I discover that they are all riddled with pain. And it dissipates my energy because it takes an effort to becoming somebody, achieving something. Then at the end, they leave a sense of incompleteness, that I want more. Dissatisfaction guaranteed. Not satisfaction guaranteed, dissatisfaction. These are the doshas. These are the defects. They have analyzed this. That is why we call it samsara sagara. Bhagavan Krishna calls it in Bhagavad Gita as dukkhalayam, ashashvatam. There is one more shloka. Janma dukkham, jara dukkham, jaya dukkham punah punah, samsara sagaram dukkham, tasmad jagrata jagrata. In this samsara, from the time we are born, it is dukkham. In fact, somebody had told you listen to your heart. It says dukh, 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 they said. Disease, wife, children, all are, they say, expressions of dukkham. Therefore, be careful, jagrata. When we see rich people, we think because they have a lot of money, they're happy. But there is dukkham all around. And there was a shloka I found that was very interesting and I want to share here. Arthanam arjane dukkham, arjitanam cha rakshane, nashe dukkham, vyaye dukkham, digarthan klesha karinah. Similar to our Maslow's hierarchy of needs. See, we get up every day. Arjanam arjane dukkham. There is dukkham in earning money. Not easy. You have to get up every day, work for a very difficult boss, sometimes very difficult colleagues. Then after you earn, arjitanam cha rakshane. You have to protect. Then comes the safety needs in the Maslow's hierarchy. We have to protect what we have earned. That is dukkham. Because stock market goes up and down. The volatility index keeps volatile, keeps going up and down. Then nashe dukkham. If we lose it, there is dukkham. Vyaye dukkham. When we spend it, there is dukkham. High inflation. Prices have gone up. We say $5 a gallon of gas. It used to be 87 cents, Painful. Digarthan kleshakarinaha. This money is nothing but misery causing instrument, he says. Money, matrimony is all a matter of money, they say. They are all dukkham. When we start to see the defects in that bhava sukha, what happens? Vairagya, dispassion starts to kick in. Vairagya is defined by Bhagavan Shankaracharya ji in Tattva Bodha as Iha Swarga Bhogeshu Icharahityam. The absence of desire to enjoy the pleasures of this world, including heaven, is Vairagya. Absence of pleasure here and hereafter. If Viveka points out to us that everything except Brahman is ephemeral or impermanent in this world, then the next step for us is we should stop seeking what is impermanent. Like I said before, no cravings for the two B's, Bahya Vishaya and Bhoga Vishaya. Then what happens? No objects of pleasure and no objects of indulgence. Everything in moderation. That is when the Dhira, Kathopanishad calls him the Dhira. Dhira, I call it, D. Because he is equipped with the 4 Ds of Vedanta. Who is a sadhana chatushtaya sampanna. He begins the journey inward at this phase. He takes a U-turn in his life. Avritta chakshuhu, he turns inward. Then with the next instruction comes Atmecha Vyavasiyatam. Atma Icha. See the self, I want to know this Atma, my true nature, which we will see next week. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah, Sarve Santu Niramayah, Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu, Ma Kaschid Dukkha Bhag Bhavet. Om Asatoma Sadgamaya, Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya, Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.